Hi everyone, welcome back to 33 Founders. Chase and I are delighted to be with Jordan Metzner this afternoon, the co-founder and CEO of Washio. Thanks so much for joining us, Jordan.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So I have to open with this. Users are describing the process of discovering Washio as the first day of the rest of their lives. So can we start out with you just telling us about the service and why it's so special?
Sure. So Washio is an on-demand dry clean and laundry service, and it works like many other on-demand services. So you download an app from the App Store, from Android, as well as on web, and you simply select your pickup and drop-off time of when you'd like your laundry picked up and returned. And one of our ninjas will come to your house within a 30-minute time window. We'll pick up all your stuff. We'll give you a bag for dry cleaning and a bag for wash and fold, and then we'll return your stuff back to you 24 hours later.
So it's only been a year since you guys launched in LA and you've been hugely successful. What are some of the key decisions, Jordan, that have led to your success?
Oh man, that's a tough question. I think that we have a very much of a hustler type mentality, and we really try to focus on the here and now, and really just trying to execute on what needs to get done to move us and progress us forward. And we work really, really hard at building Washio and what we've got so far, but I don't think we've come even close to what we're capable of. I mean, we all feel like this is just the tip of the iceberg or just the beginning, and we have so much more to do and build. And so, we continue to work hard every day to build Washio into what it could possibly be.
And Washio, Jordan's all about saving time. So what's one discipline that you have that's really essential to that hustler mentality and productivity?
I think it's about kind of making lists and then checking them off and getting shit done. And I think every day we come in here not knowing what we're going to expect, and we try to keep roadmaps and kind of long-term goals, but at the same time, the business is very fluid and things happen very quickly, and so we try to adapt to those changes as easily as possible, and then change course depending on what needs to get done.
What's
Great.
your favorite task app?
So we use Jira in-house for project management. And sometimes I'm good at keeping up with it, and other times I'm not as good. But my favorite task app is this thing right here.
What in the
So,
world is that?
yeah, so I'm a big pen and paper believer. So I don't have my notepad in front of me, but every day I'm writing notes in my notepad. So I think that trumps everything as far as getting shit done. So I really try to every day kind of write everything down or write down what I need to get done and then try to check it off. So, as long as I can visualize it and think it out loud, then I do a much better job of executing on what I'd like to complete.
All right. So you recently closed a new round of funding. Now, what's the difference between pitching to investors in the early stages and then after a year? How has your pitch changed?
It changes dramatically. The early stage investors really don't have enough insight into what type of business it is and kind of how successful the business can possibly be. And so you're really selling them on the opportunity of this could be something very, very big, and what are the right people to execute on it. And that's really your pitch at the early stage. Once you start going into venture capital and raising the Series A, then it's much less about this can be something big. I think you get beyond that, and it's like, well, what is it now, and what can it be, and kind of what are the metrics around that. So it's much more metric focused and much more about kind of proving out the model that it's something that can be successful.
Okay, and I know Jenna wants to dive into the business, but before we do that, I noticed that your domain is not washio.com. And this is kind of a silly problem for a lot of entrepreneurs, but if they can't get that domain or that Twitter handle, they kind of like hold off and they plan around it. So, how do you keep roadblocks from standing in the way of productivity and goals? Not that Get Washio isn't your desired domain name, but you know what I mean.
So initially the company was called wash.io, and we own that domain. And we just found that .io domains were very difficult to explain to consumers who didn't know about them. So we purchased a .com. But we've been trying to acquire Washio.com, but they don't seem to want to give it up. But, I think today in the here and now, domain names are becoming less and less relevant, and it's much more about App Store SEO. So really, as long as we're at the top of the App Store when people search for Washio, that's really what's going to become more fundamental than being at the top of a domain name. And I think consumers nowadays are so dependent on Google and using the Omnibar and Chrome that I think a lot of users just go straight to just searching for Washio, and of course we come up first.
That's great. And like Chase said, I'm really eager to dive into the business. But Washio, Jordan, is such a personal service. So people have a lot of extreme needs, especially when it comes to their clothes. With such a diversified team, you mentioned before that you have over 120 ninjas in 3 cities, so in DC, LA, and San Francisco. How are you ensuring that each need is taken care of?
So every city has a city operations manager who manages the people on the ground, and their job is to make sure that the day-to-day is happening. We also have people here in headquarters that are assisting those city operations managers. So we have a VP of operations who basically manages those city ops managers. And then we also have a community manager who manages the community in every one of those cities. So every month we do different events for our ninjas. So we've taken them to baseball games, karaoke, rented out bars, pretty much anything we can do to kind of keep the social engagement high and let all of our ninjas feel like they're part of the community.
So aside from events like that, what kind of things do you do to get them to hold on to your values and demonstrate them always?
Sure. So, training is a huge piece for us, and so is the selection process. So, we don't simply put an ad on Craigslist and kind of take anyone who applies. We have a pretty rigorous application process where after you apply, then you have to be approved. Then you go through a phone interview. All of your documentation has to be in check. Once you go through a phone, you do an in-person interview. Then we do group training. We also do one-on-one training. So we'll have an experienced ninja, we call a master ninja, train a new ninja. So we really try to do as much as we can to really get them trained and up to speed on kind of how our system and how it works. And at the same time, we're a startup who's very young, and we have a lot more to do. And so, all of our ninjas are consistently seeing the progress of the business through, the use of the mobile application, for example, where, pretty much every week or two, we're adding new features for them to kind of help them do a better job or help them do their job easier.
And I noticed a lot of your ninjas were kind of solopreneurs. They're all doing their own thing, and you guys seem to embrace that. What is behind the mentality of entrepreneurship for your employees? I mean, does that help them?
Yeah, I mean, I'm super pro entrepreneurship, and so we try to do whatever we can to kind of promote entrepreneurship, both within the organization and to employees and to ninjas that are interested in funding and budding their personal entrepreneurship goals. I think with the way a ninja works as an independent contractor, it's a whole new way for individuals to make income and revenue. And what you're seeing is people who used to be stuck having to work in retail or restaurant locations where they had a fixed schedule and they weren't able to move things around and they weren't able to set their own hours. Have moved over to more of these independent type jobs that allow them a lot more flexibility to make even just as much, if not more, income and still do the things they love on the side, whether that be acting or dancing or teaching or building a small business.
So, Jordan, I want to talk about the most important part of the company, and that's Washio treats. So whether it's cookies, healthy snacks, or a free pair of socks, how are these small gestures that really consider your user changing your business?
We try to surprise and delight our customers all the time. And, the cookie came as something we just wanted to surprise and delight at the beginning. And I think the whole thing was like, do things that don't scale. And the cookie was something like that. And, it's consumed our brand to be kind of a big piece of it. And I think we never expected it to be such like an enjoyable piece of the service. So obviously we're sticking with the cookie and that's not going away. But we have amazing customers, and obviously doing laundry and dry cleaning is a very repeatable business, and so many companies have come to us and asked us to do some type of promotion with them to help spread the word of their business. And we rarely say yes to those types of promotions, but when we find a promotion or an opportunity or a value that brings a massive amount of value to our consumers, then that's the type of deals we're doing. And so in the case of Nice Laundry, they offered us to give away thousands of pairs of socks to our customers, just so the customers not only do they get a free pair of socks, but then they get to learn about a cool new brand. And that for us is like the ideal type of partnership because everybody wins.
So, like you said, Washio is something that people will be using every day and every week. So, you constantly have that goal of surprising your customers. What are some ways looking ahead that you want to maintain that so every time they get their laundry delivered back to them, it's an exciting experience?
Sure. So, I mean, I think we have a lot more tricks up our sleeve. I think there's probably a lot we can't share yet, but it's going to be consistently providing new and awesome opportunities. I think, we're continually working on improving the customer experience from the software and application perspective, but also from the real life perspective of the interaction between the customer and the Ninja. And I think, we're still, like I said, so young. But as consumers start to get to know us and as they learn more about how Washio works and as we learn more about the consumers and what they like and how it works for them, I think we'll be able to find a really perfect harmony between the two that really makes everybody super satisfied with the service.
Great.
And now, I mean, you kind of touched on this in the beginning, but I want to end with giving our users kind of a glimpse into how you scaled so quickly. So can you try to consolidate what you said into a best advice clip for entrepreneurs to scale quickly in a year?
Sure. So, I mean, the key for us has been to always focus on what we're working on in the here and now. And so we really put our heads together on saying, like, okay, what is our short-term goal and how are we going to achieve that? And once we kind of lay the outline for what we're trying to do and what we want to execute on, then we literally put all hands on deck and just absolute execution. And, we're relentless in achieving what we strive for. And we don't give up easily. And I think, in general, business is very difficult. And now I'm sitting here, a year plus into the business, and it looks like we're sitting pretty and everything's fantastic. But we don't look at it like that at all. We look at it just like today is day one, and we've got a whole long road ahead of us. And so, just like a marathon, you just got to put one step in front of the other and just keep moving forward.
So, how can users get in touch with Washio and how can they start using the service?
Cool. So you can check us out at getwashio.com. You can download the Washio app from the iOS App Store or from the Google Play Store. You can also use it on the web at app.getwashio.com. And users can get involved. They can email us at any time at support@getwashio.com. And currently we're servicing Los Angeles, San Francisco, Washington, D.C., with more expansion within those cities as well as new cities to come soon.
Great. Thanks so much for joining us, Jordan.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.